I'm Jake Miller from the Educational Duct Tape Podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect those of others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
This has been a school year for the history books, literally. Life as we know it was flipped on its head, and you may be telling yourself, TGIS, thank goodness it's summer. If I can make it through this, I can make it through anything. Maybe the only question you want to ask yourself right now is, sangria or margarita? However, August and September will be here before you know it, my friends, bringing with it a whole slew of unanswered questions. In this episode, I'm going to lay out the 5 W's and 1 H you should definitely be asking yourself as your crazy school year winds down and your summer begins. Let's go. Welcome to the Burned In Teacher Podcast. I'm Amber Harper, and the educators on this podcast are brave enough to share their stories of burnout with the world. On BIT, we get real, we get honest, and we take action. Action against the burnout with stories from burned out teachers, advice from experts, and actionable steps you can take today to beat the burnout and become a happier, more fulfilled human being. Let's get started. Hey there, Burned In Teachers. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 72 of the Burned In Teacher Podcast. This is one part burnout and all other parts action, inspiration, and support for teachers dealing with burnout. I'm your host, Amber Harper. Hello. And I'm so grateful that you're spending your time with me today, especially because this episode is coming to you in the first week of June. Can I get an amen? I am not in the classroom anymore full time. I do work with teachers in their classrooms and schools. However, I am telling you, I am as happy as any of you that this school year has officially come to an end for the 2019-2020 school year. My daughter was a senior this year. She is now graduated, or rather awaiting graduation in July, and it's been a rough one. It's been really challenging to navigate the emotions and the letdowns that this year has brought. However, it has brought also a lot of realizations. And what I want to do today is actually go through 6 questions that I want you to consider as you go into your summer. Because like I said in the intro, I know the only thing you want to think about is, where am I going to put my beach chair? Or what am I going to have in my hand, right? But it's not that simple. The more that we numb ourselves and the further that we distance ourselves from the reality that we don't know what is to come in the fall, the more likely we are to crumble under the consistent changes that are to possibly come week in and week out this summer. We don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not trying to be a doomsday prepper here, right? I'm all about being positive. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know that I love to lean toward the positive. However, we also need to be real. And so today I want to lay out some questions to ask yourself as you sit your chair down in the yard or on the beach or in the front driveway like we've been doing lately, and you're having that glass of sangria or a margarita or a nice cup of tea, whatever it is that you're doing, that you are considering these things that will make or break next school year and the year after that and the year after that. Because, my friends, I was in the classroom for 12 years and it always seemed like there was something. Again, not trying to be a prepper, trying to be real with you. So let's dive into some questions that I want you to consider as you go into your summer. So as the title of today's episode suggests, I have 5 W's and an H. So here they are. I'm going to lay them all out for you at once, and then I'm going to break each of them down. So the first question is who? Who will I have on my side this summer to help me deal and heal from this crazy school year and prepare for next school year? Here's question number 2. What? What is my vision and plan for how I want to spend my time next school year, whether or not we're actually teaching in the physical classroom? Question number 3, when? When will I make the time for the discipline that it will take to get me on a different path than the one that I was on this year or the one I'm on now, that path of burnout? Question number 4, where? Where can I find the support that I need to believe, think, feel, and do differently than I ever have before in my entire teaching career? Question number 5, Why? Why should I care? It's summer. And question number 6, how? How can I prepare for hardship without being a doomsday prepper? Lucky for you, you're listening to this episode today, and you know that the Burn to Teacher podcast is one part burnout and all other parts action, inspiration, and support. So that's what I'm going to offer you right now. Now, this episode is airing on June 1st, and June 1st is actually landing right smack dab in the middle of the fact that the Burned In Teacher Tribe membership doors are wide open, ready to help you with the 5 W's and the H that I just asked you. Last week, I led a 4-part video training series all about creating a vision, a plan, discipline, and intention to help you to change your reality. And really, what I want to offer you is a chance to not only answer these questions with confidence, but to walk into next year or sit down next year to a school year that feels, looks, sounds, and is different than any other school year you've ever experienced. And not because you could possibly start a school year out teaching virtually, but because you have the strategies, the support, the action, the beliefs, and the time to do things on your terms and to do things differently than you ever have before. Now, last week in the free Burned In Teacher Facebook group, I asked a question of the current members of that group. When there are almost 700 members, they're helping each other out every day. I asked them, I said, how many hours are you spending a week working? This is everything: emails, planning, teaching, everything. And I had a lot of people add in, I asked for their answer in hearts. So a blue heart was 0 to 25 hours, a yellow heart was 26 to 40, a green heart was 41 to 50, and then a red heart was 50 plus hours. And I did have a mixture of a lot of different colors, but most of the time, whenever people answered a red heart, which is 50 plus hours, a lot of them put 2 hearts or 3 hearts, or they put a red heart with an exhausted emoji next to it. Now, what that shows me is that there's a lot of work being done, and that's honorable. However, what I want to help you to realize in the Burned In Teacher Tribe membership is that it all starts with our beliefs about time and our beliefs about what needs to be done and our beliefs about our worthiness, and not just about if you're a burned and unbalanced teacher. The Burned In Teacher Tribe membership is not just about helping you to gain more time and to make more time in your day. That's only part of it. We also work on your consistent daily beliefs and your consistent daily actions, and that's all inside of the tribe. So here are the answers to those 6 questions that I asked you a bit ago. All right, so number 1, who? Who will I have on my side this summer to help me deal and heal from this crazy school year and prepare for next school year, no matter what that looks like? So I want you to close your eyes and think. Don't close your eyes if you're driving. But I want you to think about, who are your top 5? Who are the 5 people that are not just going to help you to cope, but are going to help you to prepare for success, not just for your students, but for you? All right? Because the Burned In Teacher Tribe can offer you that support and that preparation and that healing and that dealing with what has happened this year, and to help you to move on to a better year next year, no matter what that looks like. The second question was what? What is my vision and plan for how I want to spend my time next school year, whether or not we're actually teaching in the physical classroom? Well, I can tell you this much, and I've said it a million times. I used to go into each school year with the best of intentions, without a real vision, without a real plan. And whenever I was asked to make a plan, it was always lesson plans. It was always unit plans. It was always curriculum plans. But never did I ever think to sit down and actually make a solid plan based on a vision for what I wanted my daily and weekly life to look like. That is what you will learn in the Burned In Teacher Tribe through the Burned In Teacher University course that's sitting there waiting for you to go through these modules and lessons to help you to take some really systematic action towards next school year, or heck, even the end of this school year, and even in the summer for you to really process and digest all of these things that you'll learn. The third question is when. When will I make the time for the discipline it will take to get me on a different path than the one I'm on now, the path of burnout? Let me tell you something. If you are burned out and you do nothing differently, You're going to either stay where you are or you're going to backslide into worse and worse burnout, where you feel like the only other option is for you to quit teaching. And it's certainly not what we want without you trying something different. And this is the time and this is the place. There is no better time than now, than to take the action, than to do something different, than to listen and look and pay attention and surround yourself with something different. And that's what the Burned In Teacher Tribe wants to offer you. Listen, I've been in the position where I've done nothing different. I accepted the reality of where I was in my teaching career. And I had not one, but two public breakdowns in front of my teacher friends, in front of my administrator. I had to leave early because I couldn't breathe, because I was so deep in the burnout hole and had no idea that there were options for me besides living that life. I had accepted it as my reality, and my heart and my soul and my mind were screaming to do something different so that I could love teaching again. I loved teaching, but there was something in me that needed something different within my teaching career. I fought and fought and fought against the realization that things could be different, that I didn't have to stay in the district or the building that I was in. But that was the story I was telling myself. I don't know your story. I don't know your struggles. I don't know your season of life. But I do know that I needed somebody to sit me down and say, Amber, if this is not what your heart wants, then you need to explore other options, maybe at different schools, maybe at a different position. Because I thought doing something different meant venting to my friends, getting drunk, and then coming back to school the next week. That's not how your reality has to be. You can surround yourself with people who are going to guide you down a different path. It doesn't have to be a path out of education. It doesn't have to be a path to administration. It's a path that you want to walk down or to leap down or to run down. It can be to love teaching again. It can be to go back to school and get your degree so that you can do something in administration. Everyone's goals are different, and it's okay. It's actually wonderful to know that there are other options besides just being miserable. And of course, looking at burnout as an opportunity to change the way that you've planned or the way that you teach or where you teach or how you teach. The opportunity for you to not only grow as a teacher, but as a human is exciting. Next is where. Where is the fourth question. Where can I find the support I need to believe, think, feel, and do differently than I ever have before my teaching career? Well, I can tell you something. In the Burned In Teacher Tribe, you get a membership into also the members only Burned In Teacher Tribe Facebook group, where I go live and I answer questions, and other tribe members go live and answer and ask questions, and we speak the same language. And we can say in module 5, lesson 2, help me to understand how I can do this differently. Help me understand how I can bring this into my life. And we have a conversation. And that's what it's all about. In our monthly forums, you submit questions and we go over them in detail. You can submit your lesson plans. You can submit your calendar. You can submit whatever you want for review, where I can go over and ask you questions in return and get you thinking about how you've done things in the past versus how you can do things differently in the future. Question number 5 is why? Why should I care? It's summer. Just let me relax, Amber. I totally get it. We all deserve R&R, right? We really do. However, we also deserve to have a plan. We deserve to have the support that we need. We deserve to do something differently if the way we've been doing things isn't working. And summer is the best time to not only re-energize and recharge, but rethink and recenter and really revisit why it is that we're teaching and what our purpose is, not only in education, but in life. What is it that we want, and how are we going to get there? And the final question is how? How can I prepare for hardship without being a doomsday prepper? Listen, Malcolm X said the future belongs to the people who prepare for it today. And it can't be more true. Here's what I know to be true. During this quarantine and teaching virtually, I got a text from a Burned In Teacher Tribe member. She said, "Oh my gosh, the weirdest thoughts have run through my brain after seeing teachers post about how much time they are spending with students' lessons grading. At first, I questioned if I wasn't doing enough. Is there something I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not because I'm getting things done during my required hours? Then I realized it's just because I have my shit together. I have a schedule. I make assignments manageable. I stick to a routine. I'm not going to feel guilty for not working all day and night during this time. Yay, me." I'm telling you what, I got this text and I welled up with tears because this is a teacher who, on the flip side, was welling up with tears telling me how hard life was, how she went into each weekend with anxiety because she knew it was going to be filled with planning and grading and answering emails, and she still didn't know what she would be teaching on Monday. That is no way to live a life. And when I invited her into what was then the Burned In Teacher Small Group Program, after I had told her she needed to start saying no to things, she said yes. And she's so glad she did because she prepared without knowing it for hardship. It doesn't have to be thinking about the worst case scenario. It's saying, this is my routine no matter what. And I can say no. And I can make things manageable for myself and my students. And I can set myself up for success. And that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or a bad teacher. So if you listen to this episode again and listen to those 6 questions I asked you, I want you to consider, what are your answers now versus what do you want them to be? And then I want you to go to burnedinteacher.com/tribe. And I want you to read the testimonials and the stories. And I want you to pay attention to what you get when you join right away. And I also want you to pay attention to the minimal price tag. Listen, I am and forever will be a teacher and will forever consider a teacher salary. I can't do everything for free, but what I can do is make it affordable. So there's a monthly membership option and there's a yearly membership option, and they are both extremely reasonable. So I challenge you, encourage you, dare you to go to burnedinteacher.com/tribe, check it out and join us. What do you have to lose besides the anxiety and the frustration and the overwhelm and the isolation? You have a chance to be empowered, supported, organized, more balanced, focused, inspired. You can become a burned-in teacher by rethinking your beliefs, by reevaluating your time, and by realizing that your actions truly reflect your life. And it's all a choice, and it's all up to you. So will you please join us, because the doors are going to close at 11:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, June 4th. And I'm not sure when they're going to open again, but the summer is the perfect time, my friends, and we'd love to have you. So I hope to see you in there. And take a deep breath, because you just took another step to becoming a Burned In Teacher. I'll see you next week for our final episode of Season 3 of the Burned In Teacher Podcast. Burn on. If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, you can head over to burnedinteacher.com, where you can access the entire vault of Burned In Teacher podcast episodes and more information about ways I want to help you go from burned out teacher to burned in human. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would be so grateful if you would head over to iTunes and leave a review and a rating about the Burned In Teacher podcast. Until next time, take a deep breath, because you just took another step to becoming a burned in teacher. Burn on.